Okay, so now I'm going to grab my rope, and for right now, I just want to, now I might accidentally throw a loop on him. It's funny when you're not trying to rope, at least for me, when I'm not trying to rope something, I'll end up actually roping things. Like, I didn't want to rope that wild horse today, but that's not really my goal, to throw a loop over his head. I will throw an open loop at some point over him, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But for right now, my goal is just to get my pony exposure to the rope and get him comfortable with it. So again, I'm not babying him, and I'm just making noise. I'm uncoiling my rope here. I'm uncoiling my rope, and I just want him to get used to it. And I'll start with just some basic desensitizing. When you rope a horse, most horses learn really quickly how to duck the rope, right? And so they'll end up avoiding it. And so if I do want to rope a horse, what I'll do is I'll get them used to that rope just touching them all over and them not actually getting roped, and getting them used to the sound and the swing. Good, I like that. So I'm going to rope his hip right now. So I'm just gonna come right over his hip, take the pressure right back away there. Good boy. So he handled that really well. I'm glad he didn't kick out. Although if he did kick out, no big deal. That's why we do what we do. We wanna get the reactions and see how our pony does. So I'm gonna ask again here. I'm gonna go ahead and go for his hip. Good boy. All right, so this next time I'm gonna throw a big enough loop. I'm gonna actually try to catch his hip and go over the top of his hip. So we've already taught him how to give to pressure. And so I should be able, in theory, if I do rope his hip, that's if I rope it. If I do get his hip, in theory, I should be able to pull him towards me and get him to respond to that pressure. So right now, my goal is actually catching that hip there, and I'm gonna apply pressure there, and I'll release the pressure. That was really, really light. I like that. That was really, really good. So now that he let me rope his hip, I'm not going to throw the rope over him because that's not a commitment that I'm ready for right now. But I am going to apply some pressure and throw it like over his shoulders, in front of his nose, in front of his front end, to see how he does. So this is where I'm gonna start. Like I was saying, I'm gonna start throwing it kind of towards his head, towards his face. I want him to get comfortable with this rope being tossed over him, going in his direction, going by his front end. My hope is not to catch him here. So I'm gonna go kind of more over his withers this first throw. There, good. And I'll do some desensitizing to this rope here. He's a smart horse. He's one of these horses that are like that. It tends to be older horses that I tend to see this with. When you have these older horses that haven't been handled or touched. At 10 years old, he's seen a lot of things, right? What happens is they have this habit of seeing things and then they file them away. You guys have seen this with your horse. If a horse throws you, I can't tell you how many people have experienced this. Horse throws you, a lot of people say, you know, the horse stopped, took a few steps, he stopped, and he turned back and he looked at me and he walked back over. That's what horses do. Like, they get out of the way of danger and then they turn back and they look at it and they kind of file that away in their memory system so that now they know in the future, oh, that's something scary. And so this also applies to when we're teaching our horses things as well, is if we give them a moment to process, they will naturally file that information away, because horses know that information that might not seem useful right now at this moment might be very useful for them down the road in the future. So I'm gonna go at his head one more time here. Again, the goal is not to catch him. If I do catch him, I'm gonna try to keep my loop open and take it off of his head. But I'm gonna throw it just in front of his nose, right in front of his face here. Good, what a pony. We'll do a little bit of desensitizing with it. Good. I'm gonna wait for him to relax from this. Good, I like that.